The courtroom fell dead silent. Every person in the packed room stopped breathing for a moment as they watched a tiny 5-year-old girl with messy brown hair walk up to the judge's bench. Her small shoes squeaked against the polished floor, and her worn-out dress was too big for her tiny frame. Judge Catherine Westbrook sat in her wheelchair behind the tall wooden desk, her hands resting on the armrests that had become her prison for the past 3 years. She had seen many strange things in her 20 years as a judge, but never had a child this young approached her bench during a serious trial. The little girl looked up at the judge with bright green eyes that seemed to sparkle with something magical. She took a deep breath and spoke in a voice so clear that everyone in the back row could hear her perfectly. "Judge Lady," the child said, her small hands pressed against the wooden bench, "if you let my daddy go free, I promise I will make your legs work again." The courtroom erupted. People gasped, laughed, and whispered all at once. Some pointed at the little girl and shook their heads. Others looked at her with pity, thinking she was just a confused child who didn't understand how the world worked. But Judge Catherine Westbrook didn't laugh. She stared at the little girl with wide eyes, feeling something strange in her heart that she hadn't felt in years. "Hope. Now, let me tell you how this incredible moment came to be, and where are you watching from? Comment below. Subscribe to this channel to support our growth." 3 weeks earlier, Robert Mitchell was a hardworking construction worker who loved his daughter Lily more than anything in the world. Every morning, he would wake up at 5 o'clock, make breakfast for his little girl, and kiss her forehead before leaving for work. Robert's wife had died when Lily was just 2 years old, leaving him to raise their daughter all by himself. Lily was not like other children. She had terrible asthma that made it hard for her to breathe, especially during the cold winter months. Sometimes, she would wake up in the middle of the night, coughing and gasping for air. Robert would hold her in his arms, singing soft songs until she could breathe normally again. The medicine that kept Lily healthy was very expensive. Robert worked as many hours as he could, but construction work didn't pay enough to cover all of Lily's medical needs. He had already sold his car, his watch, and even his wedding ring to pay for her treatments. One cold Tuesday morning, Lily woke up with a terrible fever. Her small body was burning hot, and she could barely keep her eyes open. Robert touched her forehead and felt panic rush through his body like ice water. "Daddy?" Lily whispered, her voice weak and scratchy. "I can't breathe very well." Robert's heart broke as he looked at his sick daughter. He knew she needed medicine right away, but he had already spent his last $20 on groceries the day before. The pharmacy wouldn't let him buy medicine without money, and the hospital would ask for insurance papers he didn't have. He called his boss, Mr. Peterson, and begged for an advance on his paycheck. "Robert, I wish I could help you," Mr. Peterson said over the phone, "but company policy doesn't allow advances. You know that." Robert fell to his knees beside Lily's bed, watching his daughter struggle to breathe. Her lips were turning slightly blue, and her small hands were shaking. He knew that without medicine, Lily might not make it through the night. That evening, after Lily had fallen into a restless sleep, Robert made the hardest decision of his life. He put on his old jacket, kissed his daughter's forehead, and walked into the cold night air. The pharmacy on Elm Street was busy, even at 8 o'clock in the evening. Families were buying medicine for their children, elderly people were picking up their prescriptions, and teenagers were buying cough drops for winter colds. Robert stood outside the glass doors for 10 minutes, his hands shaking not from the cold, but from fear. He had never stolen anything in his entire life. He was a good man who worked hard and always tried to do the right thing. But watching his daughter suffer had pushed him to a breaking point. He pulled his baseball cap low over his eyes and walked into the bright pharmacy. The shelves were filled with bottles and boxes of medicine that could save Lily's life. Robert found the children's fever medicine and the special breathing treatment that Lily needed. Together, they cost more than he made in 2 days of work. Robert looked around the store. The pharmacist was busy helping an elderly woman, and the cashier was counting money in her register. His heart pounded so loud he was sure everyone could hear it. He slipped the medicine into his jacket pocket and walked toward the door as calmly as he could. Just as he was about to leave, A strong hand grabbed his shoulder. "Excuse me, sir," said a security guard with kind eyes but a serious voice. "I'm going to need you to empty your pockets." Robert's world crashed down around him. He thought about running, but he knew that would only make things worse. With tears in his eyes, he pulled out the medicine and handed it to the security guard. "Please," Robert whispered. "My little girl is very sick. She needs this medicine or she might die. I don't have any money, but I promise I'll pay it back somehow." The security guard looked at Robert with sympathy, but he shook his head. "I'm sorry, sir. I have to call the police. That's the law." Within 20 minutes, police cars with flashing lights surrounded the pharmacy. Robert was handcuffed and put in the back of a police car, while neighbors and strangers watched from the sidewalk. All he could think about was Lily at home, alone and sick, waiting for her daddy to come back with medicine. The news of Robert's arrest spread quickly through their small town. Mrs. Henderson, their elderly neighbor, found Lily crying in the apartment and took her to the hospital. The doctors gave Lily the medicine she needed, but they also told Mrs. Henderson that Lily would have to go into foster care until her father's legal troubles were sorted out. Judge Catherine Westbrook had been assigned to Robert's case. She was known throughout the county as a fair but strict judge who didn't accept excuses, even sad ones. 3 years ago, Catherine had been in a terrible car accident that left her unable to walk. Since then, she had thrown herself into her work, becoming even more focused on upholding the law. The morning of Robert's trial, the courtroom was packed with people from the community. Some came to support Robert, knowing he was a good father in a terrible situation. Others came because they believed stealing was wrong, no matter what the reason. Robert sat at the defendant's table in a borrowed suit, his hands folded and his eyes red from crying. He hadn't seen Lily in 2 weeks, and Mrs. Henderson told him that his daughter asked about him every single day. Judge Catherine rolled her wheelchair up to the bench and looked out at the crowded courtroom. She had read Robert's file the night before and knew all the details of his case. A desperate father stealing medicine for his sick child. It was the kind of situation that made her job both difficult and heartbreaking. "All rise for the Honorable Judge Catherine Westbrook," announced the bailiff, though everyone could see that the judge herself could not rise. The prosecutor, a young man named David Chun, stood up and began presenting the case against Robert. He spoke about how stealing was against the law, how businesses needed to be protected, and how making exceptions for sad stories would lead to chaos. "Your Honor," David said, adjusting his tie, "while we all feel sympathy for Mr. Mitchell's situation, we cannot allow emotions to override justice. He committed armed robbery when he threatened the security guard and stole merchandise worth over $100. Robert's lawyer, an overworked public defender named Sarah Williams, tried her best to defend him. She talked about Robert's clean record, his love for his daughter, and the impossible choice he had faced. But Judge Catherine had heard these arguments many times before. The law was clear, and her job was to uphold it, regardless of her personal feelings. Just as Judge Catherine was about to speak, the courtroom doors opened with a loud creak. Every head turned to see Mrs. Henderson walking in, holding the hand of a small girl with brown hair and green eyes. It was Lily. The little girl looked around the big courtroom with wide eyes, searching for her father. When she saw Robert sitting at the front table, her face lit up with joy and she started to run toward him. "Daddy!" she called out, her small voice echoing through the silent courtroom. The bailiff moved to stop her, but Judge Catherine held up her hand. "Let her go to her father," she said quietly. Lily ran to Robert and jumped into his arms. He held her tight, tears streaming down his face as he whispered, "I'm so sorry, baby girl. Daddy made a big mistake." Lily pulled back and looked at her father with those bright green eyes. "It's okay, Daddy. I know you were trying to help me feel better." The whole courtroom watched this reunion between father and daughter. Many people wiped tears from their eyes, including some who had come to see Robert punished. Judge Catherine cleared her throat. "Mr. Mitchell, while I understand your motivations, the law is clear about theft. You took something that didn't belong to you, and there must be consequences." That's when Lily looked up at the judge for the first time. She saw the wheelchair, the the sad expression on Judge Catherine's face, and something else that adults couldn't see. Lily had always been special. Since she was very young, she could sense things about people, their pain, their sadness, their hope. Without asking anyone for permission, Lily walked away from her father and approached the judge's bench. Her small shoes made tiny clicking sounds on the hard floor, and everyone watched in amazement as this brave little girl walked right up to one of the most powerful people in the room. "Judge Lady," Lily said, looking up with complete confidence, "my daddy is a good man. He only took the medicine because I was very sick and he loves me so much." Judge Catherine leaned forward in her wheelchair. "I understand that, sweetheart, but your father still broke the law." Lily nodded seriously, as if she understood perfectly. Then she did something that no one expected. She reached out and gently touched Judge Catherine's hand. "Judge Lady, I can see that your legs don't work, and that makes you very sad inside. My daddy told me that sometimes when people are hurt, they have a hard time seeing the love around them." The courtroom was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Judge Catherine felt her breath catch in her throat. How could this little girl know about the pain she carried every day? "I have a gift," Lily continued, her small hand still touching the judge's. "I can help people feel better when they're hurt. If you let my daddy go home with me, I promise I will make your legs work again." The courtroom erupted in chaos. People started laughing, shouting, and arguing all at once. Some called out that it was impossible, others said the child was just confused. The prosecutor objected loudly, saying this was ridiculous and had no place in a courtroom. But Judge Catherine couldn't take her eyes off Lily. There was something about this little girl that felt different, special, almost magical. The judge had given up hope of ever walking again years ago, but looking into Lily's eyes, she felt a tiny spark of possibility that she thought was gone forever. "Order!" Judge Catherine called out, banging her gavel. "Order in my courtroom." The noise slowly died down until everyone was watching the judge and the little girl again. "Lily," Judge Catherine said gently, "what you're saying is impossible. Doctors have told me that I will never walk again." Lily smiled, and her whole face seemed to glow with warmth. Sometimes doctors don't know everything. Sometimes miracles happen when people believe and love each other enough. She let go of the judge's hand and stepped back. "I'm not asking you to believe me right now, Judge Lady. I'm just asking you to give me a chance to prove it. Let my daddy come home, and I will show you that impossible things can happen." Judge Catherine looked at Robert, then at Lily, then at the packed courtroom full of people waiting to see what would happen next. Her logical mind told her this was absurd. Children couldn't heal paralyzed legs. Miracles didn't happen in courtrooms. The law was the law, and feelings couldn't change that. But her heart, the part of her that had been locked away since her accident, whispered something different. What if this special little girl really could do what she promised? What if hope wasn't just a foolish dream? The judge's hands gripped the armrests of her wheelchair tighter. Everyone in the courtroom leaned forward, waiting for her decision. Robert held his breath, knowing that his future and his daughter's future depended on what happened in the next few moments. Judge Catherine looked down at Lily one more time. The little girl stood perfectly still, her green eyes full of confidence and love. She wasn't begging or crying. She was simply offering a gift, a trade, a promise that seemed impossible but felt somehow real. "Your Honor," the prosecutor interrupted. "Surely you're not considering—" "Mr. Chun," Judge Catherine said firmly, "I am considering everything." She looked around the courtroom at all the faces staring back at her. Some looked hopeful, others looked shocked, and a few looked angry. This was not how trials were supposed to go. Judges were supposed to follow the law, not make decisions based on the promises of 5-year-old children. But Judge Catherine had spent 3 years in her wheelchair, 3 years believing that her life was essentially over, 3 years going through the motions of living without really feeling alive. Maybe, just maybe, it was time to take a leap of faith. The silence stretched on for what felt like hours but was probably only a few minutes. Finally, Judge Catherine straightened up in her wheelchair and looked directly at Lily. "Young lady," she said in a voice that carried throughout the courtroom, "you have made me a very serious promise. Do you understand that promises should never be broken? Lily nodded solemnly. Yes, Judge Lady. I always keep my promises. And you truly believe you can help me walk again? I don't just believe it, Lily said with the kind of certainty that only children possess. I know it. Judge Catherine took a deep breath that seemed to come from the bottom of her soul. When she spoke again, her voice was shaking slightly, but her words were clear. Mr. Mitchell, she said, looking at Robert, you have committed a crime, and normally I would sentence you to jail time and fines. However, your daughter has made me an offer that I find intriguing. The courtroom buzzed with whispers and gasps. Therefore, Judge Catherine continued, I am going to do something I have never done before in 20 years on this bench. I am going to postpone your sentencing for 30 days. If, within that time, your daughter can fulfill her promise to me, all charges against you will be dropped. The prosecutor jumped to his feet. Your Honor, this is highly irregular. You can't make legal decisions based on the impossible claims of a child. Mr. Chen, Judge Catherine replied calmly. In 30 days, we will know whether her claims are impossible or not. Until then, Mr. Mitchell, you are free to go home with your daughter. Robert couldn't believe what he was hearing. He looked at Lily, then at the judge, then back at his daughter. Tears were streaming down his face as he realized he was going home, at least for now. But then Judge Catherine held up her hand for silence once more. However, she said, and the word hung in the air like a storm cloud, if your daughter cannot fulfill her promise within 30 days, Mr. Mitchell, you will return to this courtroom to face not only the original charges, but additional charges for contempt of court and allowing your child to make false claims to a judge. The happiness on Robert's face faded as he realized what this meant. If Lily couldn't heal the judge, he would face even more serious consequences than before. But before he could say anything, Lily walked back over to him and took his hand. Don't worry, Daddy, she said with that same confident smile. Everything is going to be okay. As the bailiff announced that court was dismissed, people began filing out of the courtroom in groups, talking excitedly about what they had just witnessed. Some believed that Lily really had special powers, while others thought Judge Catherine had lost her mind. Robert knelt down and hugged his daughter tightly. Lily, baby, what you did was very brave. But what if you can't really heal the judge? What if we're just making everything worse? Lily looked at her father with those amazing green eyes and smiled. Daddy, do you remember what Mommy used to say about miracles? Robert's eyes filled with tears as he remembered his late wife's favorite saying. She used to say that miracles happen when love is stronger than fear. That's right, Lily said, squeezing his hand. And I love you more than I'm scared of anything. The judge lady is scared too, but she has more love in her heart than she knows. I'm going to help her remember that. As they walked out of the courtroom together, hand in hand, Robert felt a mixture of hope and terror. He was free for now, but in 30 days he would have to return to face Judge Catherine again. And this time, his fate would depend entirely on whether his 5-year-old daughter could perform what everyone else believed was an impossible miracle. Judge Catherine remained in the courtroom long after everyone else had left. She sat in her wheelchair, staring at the spot where Lily had stood, replaying the conversation over and over in her mind. What had she done? In 20 years as a judge, she had never made a decision based on emotion rather than law. She had built her reputation on being fair, logical, and consistent. Now, she had just agreed to drop charges against a thief if his 5-year-old daughter could magically heal her paralyzed legs. But as she sat there in the empty courtroom, Judge Catherine realized something that shocked her. For the first time in 3 years, she was looking forward to tomorrow. For the first time since her accident, she had something to hope for, even if that hope seemed impossible. She rolled her wheelchair to the window and looked out at the setting sun painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Somewhere out there, a little girl with green eyes was preparing to attempt the impossible. And despite everything her logical mind told her, Judge Catherine found herself believing that maybe, just maybe, miracles really could happen. But what she didn't know was that Lily's promise would lead to events that none of them could have imagined, and that the next 30 days would change all their lives in ways that went far beyond just healing paralyzed legs. The real miracle was just beginning. The next morning, Judge Catherine woke up in her bed feeling something she hadn't felt in 3 years: excitement. As sunlight streamed through her bedroom window, she found herself wondering what Lily was doing at that very moment. Was the little girl already trying to figure out how to heal her? Or was she just a confused child who had made an impossible promise? Catherine transferred herself from her bed to her wheelchair, just like she had done every morning for the past 3 years. But today felt different. Today she had hope. Meanwhile, across town, Robert was making breakfast for Lily in their small apartment. He watched his daughter eat her cereal, amazed by how calm she seemed. If he had just promised to perform a miracle in 30 days, he would be terrified. But Lily hummed quietly to herself, swinging her legs under the table as if yesterday had been perfectly normal. "Lily?" Robert said carefully, sitting down across from her. "Sweetie, about what you promised the judge yesterday." "I know, Daddy," Lily said between spoonfuls of cereal. "You're worried because you can't see my gift yet. But don't worry. It's going to work." Robert felt his heart skip a beat. "What do you mean, your gift?" "Lily, you've never healed anyone before." Lily looked at her father with those wise green eyes that seemed too old for her 5-year-old face. "Remember when Mrs. Henderson hurt her back last month, and she couldn't get out of bed?" Robert nodded. Their elderly neighbor had thrown out her back and been bedridden for a week. "Remember how I asked if I could visit her, and you said yes?" Lily continued. "I held her hand and told her a story about a magic garden where all the flowers could sing. The next day, her back felt all better." Robert's eyes widened. He did remember that Mrs. Henderson had gotten better unusually quickly, but he had just thought she was lucky. "And remember when Tommy Peterson from down the hall broke his arm?" Lily asked. Robert remembered. Their neighbor's 8-year-old son had fallen off his bicycle and broken his arm badly. The doctors said it would take 6 weeks to heal. "I drew him a picture of a superhero with strong arms," Lily said matter-of-factly. "And I told him his arm was going to be stronger than ever. It got better in 3 weeks instead of 6. Robert stared at his daughter, his mind racing. Could it be possible? Had Lily really been healing people without him noticing? "But Lily," Robert said gently, "helping someone's back feel better or helping a broken arm heal faster? That's very different from making someone who can't walk suddenly be able to walk again." Lily finished her cereal and looked at her father seriously. "Daddy, Judge Catherine's legs aren't broken like Tommy's arm was. Her legs work fine. The problem is in her heart." "What do you mean, sweetheart?" "When I touched her hand yesterday, I could feel all the sadness inside her," Lily explained. "She's so sad and scared that she's forgotten how to believe in good things. Sometimes when people are very sad for a long time, their bodies forget how to work right too." Robert didn't know what to say. His 5-year-old daughter was talking about things that sounded like advanced psychology or spiritual healing. "So how are you going to help her?" he asked. Lily smiled brightly. "I'm going to show her how to remember joy, and when she remembers how to be happy, her legs will remember how to walk." That same morning, Judge Catherine was in her home office, trying to focus on other legal cases. But she couldn't concentrate. She kept thinking about Lily's confident smile and the strange feeling she had gotten when the little girl touched her hand. Catherine had been to dozens of doctors over the past 3 years. They had all told her the same thing. Her spinal cord was severely damaged in the car accident, and she would never walk again. It was medically impossible. But something about Lily made her wonder if there were things beyond medical possibility. Her phone rang, interrupting her thoughts. It was Dr. Harrison, her longtime physician. "Catherine," Dr. Harrison said, "I heard about what happened in your courtroom yesterday. The whole town is talking about it." "I'm sure they are," Catherine replied, feeling slightly embarrassed. "Listen, I've been your doctor for 15 years, and I care about you. I don't want you to get your hopes up about something that can't happen. Your injury is permanent." Catherine was quiet for a moment. "Dr. Harrison, what if the injury isn't just physical? What if there's more to healing than just fixing broken bones and damaged nerves?" Dr. Harrison sighed. "Catherine, I understand you're going through a difficult time, But please don't let desperation make you believe in false hope. That little girl, no matter how sweet she is, cannot heal your paralysis." After Catherine hung up the phone, she felt doubt creeping into her mind. Maybe Dr. Harrison was right. Maybe she was being foolish. But then she remembered the feeling she had gotten when Lily touched her hand. A warm, tingling sensation that she hadn't felt in her legs since before the accident. That afternoon, Robert took Lily to the park. He watched as she played on the swings, her laughter filling the air like music. Other children played nearby, and Robert noticed something he had never paid attention to before. Whenever a child fell down or started crying, other kids would usually ignore them or run away. But not Lily. Every time someone got hurt, she would run over to them, help them up, and somehow make them feel better. She would whisper something in their ear, give them a hug, or just hold their hand until they stopped crying. "She's special, that one," said a voice behind Robert. Robert turned around to see an elderly man sitting on a nearby bench. He had kind eyes and a gentle smile. "I'm sorry," Robert asked. "Your daughter," the old man said, nodding toward Lily. "I've been bringing my grandson to this park for 2 years, and I've never seen a child like her. She has what my grandmother used to call the gift." "The gift?" Robert asked, sitting down next to the man. "Some people are born with the ability to heal others," the old man explained. "Not with medicine or surgery, but with love and faith. My grandmother had it. She could make sick people well just by believing in them and helping them believe in themselves." Robert watched as Lily helped a crying boy who had scraped his knee. She knelt down beside him, whispered something in his ear, and gently touched his scraped knee. Within moments, the boy stopped crying and ran back to play with his friends. "But is it real?" Robert asked. "Or do people just feel better because someone is being kind to them?" The old man smiled. "Does it matter? If love and kindness can heal people, isn't that the most real magic of all?" 3 days passed, and Judge Catherine found herself thinking about Lily constantly. She had tried to return to her normal routine, but everything felt different now. She caught herself exercising her arms more, eating healthier foods, and even smiling at people she met on the street. On Thursday morning, Catherine made a decision that surprised even herself. She called Robert's phone number, which she had gotten from the court files. "Hello," Robert answered nervously. "Mr. Mitchell, this is Judge Catherine Westbrook," she said. "I was wondering if I could speak with Lily." Robert was quiet for a moment, probably wondering if this was some kind of trap. Yes, Your Honor. She's right here." "Hello, Judge Lady." Lily's cheerful voice came through the phone. "Hello, Lily," Catherine said, and she found herself smiling just from hearing the child's voice. "I was wondering how you're planning to help me." "Oh, I'm so glad you called," Lily said excitedly. "I've been thinking about you every day. Can you meet me somewhere so we can be friends first? It's hard to help someone if you don't know them very well." Catherine was taken aback. In all her years as a judge, no one had ever asked to be her friend before meeting in court. "Where would you like to meet?" Catherine asked. "Do you know the big park on Maple Street? There's a pond with ducks and lots of pretty flowers. Could you meet me there tomorrow at 3 o'clock? Catherine looked at her calendar. She had planned to review case files tomorrow afternoon, but something told her this was more important. "Yes, Lily. I'll meet you there." "Wonderful," Lily said. "And Judge Catherine? Don't bring your judge clothes or your serious judge face. Just bring yourself. Okay?" The next afternoon, Catherine rolled her wheelchair to the park, feeling more nervous than she had in years. She wore a simple blue dress instead of her judge's robes, and she had even put on a little makeup for the first time in months. She found Lily sitting by the duck pond, wearing a yellow sundress and feeding breadcrumbs to the ducks. Robert sat on a nearby bench, watching his daughter with a mixture of love and worry. "Judge Catherine," Lily called out, waving enthusiastically. "Come sit with me." Catherine rolled her wheelchair over to the pond. Lily immediately reached into her bag and pulled out more breadcrumbs. "Here," Lily said, pouring some breadcrumbs into Catherine's hand. "The ducks are really hungry today. For the next hour, Catherine found herself doing something she hadn't done in years. She played. She fed the ducks, listened to Lily's stories about each duck's personality, and even laughed when a particularly brave duck tried to climb onto her wheelchair to get more food. "Judge Catherine," Lily said as they watched the ducks swim around the pond. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course, sweetie. Before your accident, what was your favorite thing to do?" Catherine thought for a moment. "I used to love dancing," she said quietly. "I took ballet lessons when I was little, and even as an adult, I would dance around my house when I was happy." "Dancing," Lily said, clapping her hands. "I love dancing too. Do you miss it?" Catherine felt tears coming to her eyes. "Yes, I miss it very much." Lily stood up and held out her hand. "Would you like to dance with me right now?" Catherine looked at the little girl's outstretched hand. "Lily, I can't dance. I can't stand up." "You don't have to stand up to dance," Lily said with a smile. "Your arms can dance, your head can dance, your heart can dance. Come on, I'll show you." Lily began to move her arms gracefully, like she was swimming through the air. She moved her head from side to side and spun around slowly. "See? I'm dancing with my whole body, but my feet are barely moving." Catherine watched this beautiful child dance by the pond, and something amazing happened. She found herself moving her arms in rhythm with Lily's movements. She moved her shoulders and tilted her head, and for the first time in 3 years, she felt like she was dancing again. "You're dancing, Judge Catherine," Lily said joyfully. "You're dancing." Catherine looked down at her arms, moving gracefully through the air, and realized that Lily was right. She was dancing, not the way she used to dance, but in a new way that was beautiful and freeing. Tears of joy rolled down Catherine's face as she continued to move her arms and shoulders in time with Lily's gentle movements. She felt lighter than she had in years, as if something heavy had been lifted from her heart. "How do you feel?" Lily asked, still moving gracefully. "I feel..." Catherine paused, trying to find the right words. "I feel alive." After their dance by the pond, Lily walked over to Catherine's wheelchair and gently placed her small hands on Catherine's knees. "Judge Catherine," Lily said softly, "your legs are sleeping, but they're not broken. They're just waiting for your heart to wake up completely." Catherine looked down at Lily's hands resting on her knees. She couldn't feel the touch, but somehow she could sense it. "What do you mean?" Catherine asked. "When you got hurt in the car accident, your body got hurt, but your spirit got hurt too," Lily explained. "Your spirit got so scared and sad that it kind of went to sleep. When your spirit is asleep, sometimes your body doesn't work right either." Catherine stared at this wise little girl. "And you think you can wake up my spirit?" Lily smiled. "I think your spirit is already starting to wake up. Didn't you feel it when we were dancing?" Catherine thought about the joy she had felt just moments before, the lightness in her heart, the feeling of being truly alive. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, I did feel it." "That's the first step," Lily said. "Tomorrow, can you come back? We can feed the ducks again, and maybe we can dance some more. And I'll tell you stories about all the beautiful things in the world that are waiting for you to discover them again." Catherine nodded, feeling more hopeful than she had since her accident. "Yes, Lily, I'll come back tomorrow." As Catherine rolled her wheelchair away from the park, she felt something she hadn't experienced in 3 years. She felt excited about tomorrow. She felt like her life was just beginning again. But what she didn't know was that Lily's healing gift was about to be tested in ways that no one could have imagined. Because that very evening, something would happen that would make everyone wonder if miracles were real, or if they had all been fooling themselves. Robert was making dinner when his phone rang. It was Mrs. Henderson, and she sounded frantic. "Robert, you need to come quickly," she said. "There's been an accident at the park. It's about Judge Catherine." Robert's blood turned cold. "What happened? Is she okay?" "I don't know all the details, but someone saw her wheelchair tip over near the pond. They think she might have hit her head. The ambulance is taking her to the hospital right now." Robert looked at Lily, who was coloring at the kitchen table. She looked up at him with those knowing green eyes. "Daddy," she said calmly, "Judge Catherine is going to be okay. But this is the test. This is when we find out if miracles are really real. Robert grabbed his keys with shaking hands. If something serious had happened to Judge Catherine, their deal would be over. He would go to jail and Lily would go back into foster care. But more than that, he was genuinely worried about the kind woman who had given them a chance. "Come on, Lily," he said. "We need to go to the hospital." "I know, Daddy," Lily said, putting down her crayons. "Judge Catherine needs us now more than ever." Her spirit was just starting to wake up, and now it's scared again. But don't worry. Sometimes the biggest miracles happen when things look the most impossible. As they rushed to the hospital, Robert prayed that his daughter was right. Because if Lily couldn't help Judge Catherine now, when she needed it most, then maybe miracles really were just fairy tales after all. The test of Lily's gift was about to begin. The hospital waiting room was filled with worried voices and the smell of disinfectant. Robert sat in a plastic chair, holding Lily's small hand while they waited for news about Judge Catherine. Other people from their town had heard about the accident and come to the hospital too. Word traveled fast in their small community. Dr. Harrison came through the double doors with a serious expression on his face. Robert's heart sank when he saw the doctor's worried look. "How is she, doctor?" Robert asked, standing up quickly. Dr. Harrison looked around at all the people waiting for news. Judge Westbrook hit her head when her wheelchair tipped over near the pond. She has a serious concussion and has been unconscious for the past 2 hours. Gasps and worried murmurs filled the waiting room. Robert felt like the world was spinning around him. "Is she going to be okay?" asked Mrs. Henderson, who had also come to the hospital. "We're doing everything we can," Dr. Harrison said. "But head injuries can be very unpredictable. The next 24 hours will be critical. She needs to wake up soon or—" He didn't finish the sentence, but everyone understood what he meant. Robert looked down at Lily, expecting to see fear or sadness in her eyes. But instead, Lily looked calm and determined. "Doctor," Lily said in her clear, confident voice, "can I see Judge Catherine, please?" Dr. Harrison looked surprised. He knelt down to Lily's level. "Little girl, Judge Westbrook is very sick right now. She can't have visitors. But I promised to help her," Lily said simply. "And she needs me right now more than ever." Robert put his hand on his daughter's shoulder. "Lily, sweetheart, maybe we should wait until the doctor says it's okay." But Lily shook her head. "Daddy, remember what I told you about Judge Catherine's spirit being asleep? Well, now it's not just asleep, it's lost. The accident scared her spirit so much that it doesn't know how to find its way back to her body. I need to help guide it home." Everyone in the waiting room stared at this 5-year-old girl talking about spirits and healing as if she were an adult. Some people looked skeptical, others looked hopeful, and a few looked like they thought Lily might be their only chance. Dr. Harrison stood up slowly. "I'm sorry, but hospital rules don't allow children in the intensive care unit." "Doctor," said a familiar voice from behind them. Everyone turned to see David Chun, the prosecutor from Robert's trial. He looked tired and worried. "Mr. Chun," Robert said, surprised to see him there. David walked over to them. "I heard about Judge Westbrook's accident on the radio. I came because—" He paused, looking uncomfortable. "Because I wanted to apologize." "Apologize for what?" Robert asked. "For not believing," David said quietly. "I've been thinking about what happened in that courtroom for the past week. I've seen Judge Westbrook handle hundreds of cases, and I've never seen her make an emotional decision. She's always been completely logical and by the book. But something about your daughter made her willing to take a leap of faith." David looked at Lily with new respect. "If Judge Westbrook believed in you, then maybe I should too. Doctor, isn't there some way this child can see the judge?" Dr. Harrison looked conflicted. "Even if I wanted to allow it, which goes against all hospital policy, Judge Westbrook is unconscious. She wouldn't even know the child was there." "But I would know," Lily said firmly. "And Judge Catherine's spirit would know too, even if her sleeping body doesn't." An elderly woman who had been sitting quietly in the corner spoke up. "Doctor, what harm could it do? If the judge doesn't wake up soon anyway—" She didn't finish the sentence, but her meaning was clear. Dr. Harrison looked around the waiting room at all the hopeful faces staring back at him. He had been a doctor for 30 years, and he had always believed in science and medicine above everything else. But sometimes, in cases like this, science wasn't enough. 5 minutes, he said finally. The child can have 5 minutes with Judge Westbrook. But that's all, and there have to be adults with her. Robert squeezed Lily's hand. Are you sure about this, sweetheart? Lily looked up at her father with those wise green eyes. Daddy, do you remember what Mommy used to say about the hardest times? Robert's eyes filled with tears as he remembered his wife's words. She used to say that the hardest times are when miracles happen, because that's when people need them most. That's right, Lily said, smiling. And Judge Catherine needs a miracle right now more than she's ever needed anything. Dr. Harrison led them down a long white hallway to the intensive care unit. The room was quiet except for the sound of machines beeping and humming. Judge Catherine lay in the hospital bed, looking smaller and more fragile than Robert had ever seen her. Tubes and wires connected her to various machines, and her face was pale and still. She looked so peaceful, Lily whispered, walking up to the bed without any fear. Robert stayed back near the door with Dr. Harrison, watching nervously as his daughter approached the unconscious judge. Lily climbed up onto a chair beside the bed so she could be at the same level as Judge Catherine. She looked at the judge's still face for a long moment, then gently placed her small hand on Catherine's arm. Hello, Judge Catherine, Lily said softly. I know you can't hear me with your ears right now, but I'm hoping you can hear me with your heart. The machines continued their steady beeping, but Judge Catherine didn't move. I know you're scared, Lily continued, her voice gentle and loving. When you fell down at the park, it reminded you of your car accident, didn't it? It made you remember how scary it was when your body got hurt, and now your spirit is hiding again. Dr. Harrison watched in amazement as this little girl talked to his patient as if she were having a normal conversation. But Judge Catherine, I need you to remember something important, Lily said, stroking the judge's arm gently. Do you remember how it felt when we were dancing by the duck pond? Do you remember how light and happy you felt? That happiness is still inside you. It's just hiding because it's scared. Robert held his breath as he watched his daughter pour her heart out to the unconscious woman. Your spirit isn't broken, Judge Catherine. It's just lost in a dark place, like being lost in a forest at night. But I can see the path back to the light, and I'm going to help guide you home. Lily closed her eyes and placed both of her small hands on Judge Catherine's arm. The room seemed to fill with a warm, golden light, though Robert wasn't sure if he was really seeing it or just feeling it. Can you see the path, Judge Catherine? Lily whispered. It's made of all the beautiful memories you've forgotten. There's the memory of you dancing as a little girl. There's the memory of your first day as a judge, when you were so excited to help people. There's the memory of us feeding the ducks and laughing together. Dr. Harrison looked at the monitors connected to Judge Catherine. Her heart rate, which had been slow and irregular, began to steady and strengthen. That's it, Lily said encouragingly. You're following the path back to the light. You're remembering who you really are. Not just a judge in a wheelchair, but a whole person full of love and hope and dreams. Judge Catherine's fingers began to twitch slightly. She's responding, Dr. Harrison whispered in amazement. Lily opened her eyes and smiled at Judge Catherine's still face. Judge Catherine, I want you to remember something very important. Your accident didn't take away your ability to dance. It just changed the way you dance. And your wheelchair didn't make you less of a person. It just gave you a different way to move through the world. Judge Catherine's eyelids began to flutter. Come back to us, Judge Catherine, Lily said, her voice full of love and certainty. Come back because the world needs you. Come back because you have so much more dancing to do. Come back because miracles are real, and you're about to be part of the most beautiful miracle of all. Suddenly, Judge Catherine's eyes opened. She blinked several times, looking confused and disoriented. Judge Catherine, Lily said joyfully, you're awake. Catherine turned her head slowly and focused on Lily's bright, smiling face. Lily, she whispered, her voice hoarse and weak. What happened? Where am I? You're in the hospital, Dr. Harrison said, rushing to check her vital signs. You had an accident at the park and hit your head. How do you feel? Judge Catherine looked around the hospital room, trying to remember. I was at the park, feeding the ducks with Lily, and then she looked confused. Your wheelchair tipped over, Robert said gently. You've been unconscious for hours. Judge Catherine looked at Lily with wonder. But I was dreaming, or maybe it wasn't a dream. I was lost in a dark place, and I heard your voice calling to me. You showed me a path made of light, and you helped me find my way back. Lily smiled. It wasn't a dream, Judge Catherine. Sometimes when people are hurt, their spirits get lost and need help finding their way home. I just helped you remember the way back to yourself. Dr. Harrison was checking Catherine's responses with a small flashlight. This is remarkable, he said. Judge Westbrook, can you tell me what year it is? Do you know where you are? Catherine answered all of his questions perfectly. Her mind was clear and sharp, with no signs of brain damage from the concussion. Doctor, Judge Catherine said, I feel different. I feel better than I have in years. Well, you did have a serious head injury, so it's normal to feel disoriented, Dr. Harrison explained. But Catherine shook her head. No, that's not what I mean. I feel better in my heart. I feel hopeful and alive and happy. She looked at Lily with tears in her eyes. Lily, what have you done to me? Lily giggled. I didn't do anything to you, Judge Catherine. I just helped you remember who you really are under all that sadness. Judge Catherine tried to sit up in bed, and Dr. Harrison helped her. As she moved, something extraordinary happened. She gasped and looked down at her legs. Doctor, she said, her voice shaking with excitement. I can feel my legs. Dr. Harrison looked skeptical. Judge Westbrook, sometimes after a head injury, people think they feel things that aren't really there. No, Catherine said firmly. I can really feel them. She looked at her legs under the hospital blanket and concentrated. Her right foot moved slightly. Everyone in the room gasped. That's impossible, Dr. Harrison whispered. Catherine concentrated harder, and both of her feet moved under the blanket. Lily? Catherine said, tears streaming down her face. Is this really happening? Lily clapped her hands together with joy. Judge Catherine, your spirit is all the way awake now. And when your spirit woke up completely, it reminded your body how to work right too. Dr. Harrison was staring at Catherine's moving feet in complete shock. This defies all medical explanation. Your spinal cord was severely damaged. There's no way you should be able to move your legs. Catherine looked at Lily with overwhelming gratitude. You did it, didn't you? You actually did it. Lily shook her head. No, Judge Catherine, we did it together. I just showed you the way back to believing in yourself. You did all the real work. Over the next hour, Judge Catherine's leg movement became stronger and more controlled. Dr. Harrison ran test after test, all of which confirmed what everyone could see. Judge Catherine was regaining feeling and movement in her legs. No, Catherine said, shaking her head. I owe you an apology because I didn't really believe. I wanted to believe, but deep down, I thought Lily's promise was impossible. I thought I was just being kind to a desperate father and his child. She looked at Lily with wonder and gratitude. But Lily, you've shown me that miracles aren't just possible, they're real. And they happen when people love each other enough to believe in impossible things. Judge Catherine sat up straighter in her hospital bed. Mr. Mitchell, all charges against you are permanently dropped. More than that, I'm going to recommend you for a new job. The hospital is looking for a maintenance supervisor, and I'm going to personally make sure they hire you. It comes with full health insurance for you and Lily. Robert's eyes filled with tears. Judge Westbrook, I don't know how to thank you. Don't thank me, Catherine said, looking at Lily. Thank your incredible daughter, who has reminded all of us that love really can heal anything. 3 weeks later, Judge Catherine walked into her courtroom for the first time in 3 years. She still used a cane and moved slowly, but she was walking. The packed courtroom erupted in applause as she made her way to the judge's bench. In the front row sat Robert and Lily. Robert was wearing a new shirt for his first day at his new job, and Lily was wearing a bright yellow dress that made her look like sunshine. Judge Catherine sat down at her bench and smiled at the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin today's proceedings, I have something to say." The courtroom fell silent. 3 weeks ago, a little girl taught me that miracles happen when love is stronger than fear. She taught me that healing isn't just about fixing broken bones. It's about fixing broken spirits. And she taught me that sometimes the most impossible things become possible when we believe in each other. Catherine looked directly at Lily and smiled. "Today, I'm not just a judge sitting in a wheelchair. I'm a woman who has learned to dance in new ways, who has remembered how to hope, and who has witnessed firsthand that miracles are real." She picked up her gavel and looked around the courtroom. "Now let's get to work. We have justice to serve and people to help." As court began, Lily whispered to her father, "Daddy, do you see how happy Judge Catherine looks now?" Robert smiled at his amazing daughter. "Yes, sweetheart, I do. That's what real healing looks like," Lily said wisely. "It's not just about making broken things work again. It's about making people remember how beautiful their lives can be." 6 months later, Judge Catherine danced at her wedding to Dr. Harrison, who had fallen in love not just with her recovery, but with her renewed joy for life. She danced slowly and carefully, but she danced. In the front row of the wedding, Robert and Lily watched with pride as their friend celebrated her new beginning. Lily had been asked to be the flower girl, and she had scattered rose petals down the aisle while humming a happy tune. As Judge Catherine and Dr. Harrison swayed together to their first dance as husband and wife, Lily leaned over to her father. "Daddy," she whispered, "do you know what the best part about miracles is?" "What's that, sweetheart?" Lily smiled with that wise, beautiful smile that had started this whole amazing journey. "The best part is that once people see one miracle happen, they start believing that all kinds of wonderful things are possible. And when people believe in wonderful things happen all the time." Robert hugged his daughter close as they watched their friends dance. He thought about his wife's favorite saying, "Miracles happen when love is stronger than fear." Looking at his incredible daughter, watching Judge Catherine dance with joy, surrounded by a community that had learned to believe in impossible things, Robert knew that miracles weren't just something that happened once in a while. With Lily in the world, miracles were happening every single day.